Doing? James here. Well, this video is going to be kind of controversial. This guy, I'm going to show you a couple videos, and it's particularly around people who are in interracial marriages. And I'm gonna let him. You're gonna hear his point. Then I'm gonna show you a video. I'm gonna show you some couples that are together, and reason why this is. And then I'll come back with my interpretation.
Forbidden in the Bible, Deuteronomy 7:3 says, "Do not intermarry with them. Do not give your daughters nor your sons to them, and do not take their daughters or do not take their sons." I seen a pastor do a message recently where he talked about how the black basketball players and the black football players, see all these black celebrities, he said they always want a white woman and they try to take a white woman as a wife. And this was a white pastor. I'm going to put the video in so y'all can see it. It's a pitiful thing. Not holy, not wonderful, and everybody should do it. Friends, it's worldly. Why is it so many black basketball stars, black football stars, black baseball stars want a white wife? Why? Lord have mercy. It's another defiance of God's law. It is a worldly way. And then it creeps over to the message. Tell me what's the difference in preaching against bob hair, painted face, shorts, all this, that, and other, being worldly, and we let this worldly means come right in, and we're afraid to say one thing about it. And let me tell you right up front, you young people, you want to marry a black man, you girls, don't ask me to do it, because I will not. I refuse. I cannot do it with a conscience toward God and look these quotes in the face. You white brothers, you find a black sister, you want to marry an African or whatever more, don't ask Brother Donnie. I'll quit church, suit yourself. I'd rather you quit than me get in trouble with God. Well, glory. And he said that by them intermarrying with those white women, he said they were sinning, and they were sinning against God. And he said that they ever want him to do one of those weddings. He said that he would refuse to do it because it is a sin against God. Now, what is sin? Sin in 1 John 3:4 says that sin is the transgression of God's laws. That's what sin is. So when somebody says, hey, you've committed a sin, you can only sin if you do something that is forbidden of God's laws, commandments, and statutes. That's also in Leviticus 5:17. I want you to hear this real quick. The prayer of Azariah 1:6-7. For we have sinned and committed iniquity, departing from thee. In all things we have trespassed and not obeyed thy commandments, nor kept them. Neither done as thou hast commanded us, that it might go well with us. God's laws, commandments, and statutes are found in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Numbers. Therefore, when it says in Deuteronomy, listen to me what I'm saying. Therefore, when it says in Deuteronomy 7:3 that you shall not enter in marriage with them, you shall not marry a woman from another nation or another nationality, you have sinned against God. Interracial marriage is forbidden in the Bible. I'm going somewhere.
Interracial marriage is a sin. You might not like it. I know many of our brothers and sisters are descendants of interracial relationships. And the entertainment will look, a lot of them, if there's 10 black athletes, at least I'd say 7 of them marry outside their race.
Interracial marriage is forbidden in the Bible. I'm going somewhere. I know this is controversial. God help me. But would you rather follow God or follow man in these last days? You better hear what thus saith the Lord. Interracial marriage is forbidden in the Bible. Exodus 34:15 again. Do not make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land or other nations, for they will prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them. They will invite you, and you will eat their sacrifices. Listen to this. And when you take some of their daughters as brides for your sons, their daughters will prostitute themselves to their gods and cause your sons to do the same. So what is God saying? God's saying do not marry them. Do not go into covenant with them, because their ideals and their principles, they will cause you to start following after their ways and not after the ways of the Most High God. Do you understand that?
Are all white people racist?
100%. How can you be a white South African and not be racist? And I don't mean that in the way of you necessarily consciously think that black people are inferior. I mean that there is just no way that you could have been born into this society without internalizing racist assumptions.
God's main issue, the Most High's main issue with interracial marriage is that it would cause you to go after the ways of other nations. It would cause you to be more like them and less like how the Most High God made you. That would be like if you marry an American today. Oh my God, so many American values that they have today that are anti-Christ, that are anti-God, that would have you following after the ways of America, after the ways of the British. Lord help me, 1 Kings 11:2. These women were from the nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not marry with them, for surely they will turn your heart after their gods. Yet Solomon clung to these women in love. Solomon clung to many women. Solomon had multiple wives, hundreds of wives. God never chastised him once for having multiple wives. Abraham had multiple wives. David had multiple wives. Israel had multiple wives. God, the list goes on. Moses had multiple wives. Lamech, Noah's dad, had multiple wives. The list goes on and on of men in the Bible who had multiple wives. A man having multiple wives isn't a sin. But God was upset with Solomon because the women that he married, oh Lord help me, he was interracial marriage, and oh my God, he was having interracial marriages. He was marrying women of different races, of different nationalities, cultures, and creeds, and that they were taking his heart, his mind, his spirit away from the Most High God. Interracial marriage is forbidden in the Bible. Oh God, it's forbidden in the Bible.
I think the oversaturation of white-centered interracial couples in media and advertising is not only propaganda, but could also be sending a very problematic message.
You ever see a black woman married to a white man? I've lived in America my whole freaking life. I've never seen a black woman married to I've never seen a black woman married to a white man that was for black people. Not ever. Not ever. Matter of fact, on the slave plantation, the black woman who was sleeping with the white man was called a bed wench. And the masters of the slave plantation, look at this, because a lot of people don't know this. The masters of the slave plantation normally put the bed wench in charge of the slaves. Normally, the bed wench was the overseer of the slave plantation. A lot of people don't know this, and nobody talks about this. You know why? Because he knew that her loyalty was to him and not to the slaves, because she was sleeping with him. That's why you see Kamala Harris as vice president, because her husband is a white man. That's why you see the black woman they put on the Supreme Court, because her husband is a white man. That's why you see they even made the black woman the press secretary because she was homosexual to a white woman. Look at Clarence Thomas. He's a Supreme Court justice as well. He's been a Supreme Court justice dang near my whole life, and you ain't never seen him do one thing for the black man or the black woman since he's had one of the most powerful seats in the whole country. I'm trying to show you that who you sleep with is who your loyalty is to. That even somebody at the highest level, Supreme Court justice, highest level you could possibly be in America, he didn't even have no power. He ain't even did nothing for us because he is married to a white woman. Lord, I'm preaching to somebody right now. Candace Owens married to a white man and a white Jewish man at that. You see why they let her speak on Fox News, and why she can speak on CNN and MSNBC and go viral on YouTube and all these different things. Her loyalty is to them, not to us. I'm not picking on her specifically or none of them women specifically, and many of them probably wouldn't even deny what I'm saying, because I've been in the same situation as them. God help me preach this thing. I've been married to white women, have dated a numerous amount of white women. You know, most of the people that talk about this subject, right? Anytime you talk to a black dude about this subject, right? He think you hate. Right? He think you hate. Oh, you just mad. You hate. You know what I mean? I got these white women out. You know what I'm saying? I got me some snow. You know, I got this white girl out here on deck. You know, you hate. You know, they think you hate, right? Hopefully, coming from me, they can understand. Look, I'm not hating at all. I guarantee you, more than anybody watching this video, I don't care if they're a football player, basketball player, I've been with more white women than them. That's how many. I've been outside. I've been outside for a long time. Okay, and it's never been a problem. We can walk in the club right now. You bring whoever you want with you. I'll walk right up to one right now if you wanted me to. Okay, so I'm trying to show you. I'm not hating at all. I'm telling you what thus saith the Lord thy God. Lord, help me preach this thing. And you know what's funny about this whole situation, right? Like I said, I was married to a white woman before, right? And all glory to God, I came out of it. And not until I was going over this sermon and writing this sermon did I understand why God let me go through what I went through. I had to come out of that sin. Most importantly, I had to come out of her, my people. Do you hear what I'm saying? Out of her ideals, out of her principles, out of her ways. Come out of her, my people, so that you do not share in the plagues that she is about to receive, for her sins are piled up to the heavens. I remember, oh my God, being married to a white woman. I remember when, you would say things like, when I would say things like our country. You're taking on her ideals, her principles. And you're having a conversation with somebody, you say, our founding fathers, you're a black man, you talking about, our founding fathers, the way our founding fathers did the Constitution. You hear Brandon Tatum, and what I mean? I was in the same world. Don't get it twisted. I was in that same world with them. I'm not throwing them under the bus. Not even a little bit am I throwing them under the bus. They can repent. They can come back to the Most High God, to the Lord. I'm just trying to tell you that I was in the same indoctrination. I've been in that same mindset. I was in the United States Army for 6 years. Of course I was indoctrinated, married to a white woman while I was in there. Of course I was indoctrinated. They issue me one. Hey, here you go, here you go, your white girl. It's like when you join the basketball team. When you become the NBA star, here you go, your white girl. It's an issue, right? So it's like, oh, look, I'm doing what? In all the parties you go to, all the black men got white girls. And all the parties you go to is white people, and they treating you nice and kind. And, they everything. You're like, wow, they love me in America. Wow. No, they feel like you one of them. You're acting like one of them. The principles, the ideals, the things you believe in. Our league. You hear LeBron them saying stuff like our league. Y'all don't own the NBA. How's your league? It's owned by all white Jewish men. How do you own the league? You see, when they become rappers, they get the white woman, and our hip hop, they love us, the our record label. They ain't your record label, you don't own nothing, right? You see what I'm saying? You should own the whole. Oh Lord, help me preach this thing. My point is, you end up taking on her ideals, because her ideals is the dominant culture in the country that you're in. Period. And that will take you away from the Most High God, His laws, His commandments, and His statutes, mainly because the country that you live in is completely anti-Christ, it's completely against God, it's Satan, it's a sinful nation. That's why I read for you Revelations 18:4, and says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive her plagues. These are the last days. God help me preach this thing. These are the last days. Interracial marriage is forbidden in the Bible. These are the last days, and ultimately you want to follow God and not man. I read for you the plain text. I didn't interpret it for you.
Now, my question is, if going back over this video, the scriptures, reading about the scripture, but one thing people tend to miss, this is my opinion, is that those other women from other nations were worshiping other gods, right? Okay. What if you
need insurance from changing life, like you left your job?
You think during the time of the Bible that there were women of color didn't worship other gods? Do you think that there's women who are African descent, African American, don't worship other gods? There are people that do, black people that do ancestry worship, that worship the African Egyptian gods, that have nothing to do with the Most High God. You have black people that take on the other symbolism and spiritualistic ways of nature worship. You have black people that is in other religions that was not, they were raised up in them ways. You have black people that was, whether men or women, in other cultures. Well, it's in America. You have black people that are atheists. You have black people that are Muslim, 5%er, this way, that has nothing, that are Moors, that are this, that are, there's too many different avenues of worship, and serve different deities, messiahs, gods, you name it. Now, here's the thing about, and wherever you go, is to make this mistake that people make, that when they see a man of color or woman of color, They think that they're part of them. Yes, we all up under the umbrella of racism. However, everybody's reality ain't the same. And then here I was thinking this earlier ago. Didn't the Holy Spirit speak to every person in every kindred tongue in every language in the world? Didn't the Holy Spirit, which is part of Yeshua, part of the Christ, during Pentecost, while we come upon this Pentecost? And then now let me ask you a question. I would ask, if I had to ask these people a question. Ain't all nations are going to be in the kingdom one day? The same nations of people? And then we don't even know who was interracially mixed during the time when Christ was walking the earth. We don't know that. This is what we assume. And I'm going to tell you what was it about. Yeah, when the scripture, they liked it. They thought it up. They were out there worshiping other gods. So it's like some of these men is like, yeah, okay, you go free. I go worship my God. You go worship your God. And we'll be under a covenant of the house. That's what it was. But if a black man or black woman go and let's say, and they marry a Chinese person, they become their religion, or Japanese person, it is what it is. They agreed to that. But it has nothing to do, to me, it has nothing to do with heritage. It has to do with the covenant of Christ. That's that individual choice. This is what people don't understand this stuff. But I'm gonna show you that they not black men just sleep around. These black men are married. And
I've got a husband and wife. Turn 26. Folks plan to healthcare. I love is here.
this is a bad bus driver. Shout out this channel. But my thing is,
Bus driver here, brothers, and the ladies, and the haters that are most definitely watching. Yeah. So, brothers, there's been complaints after complaints after complaints, accusations, stories that have been told, lies that have been spread. The same old label. You black men ain't building shit. You black men can't.
The idea is to, where am I going? Oh!
You should forget how to skate.
All right. Okay.
they go these silly commercials. Right, we about to get into a commercial. They show a commercial.
If you're not making $158,000 per year, but you'd like to,
Come on, you two. Damn.
Build up, create no communities. You can't do this, you can't do that. You all heard it before. You know where it comes from. It not just comes from racist guys from the white community, but also comes from racist women from the black community. Also promoted and hustled by the Simpsons, Captain Saberhoes, that permeate the so-called culture. You've seen and you have heard all these tropes and stereotypes have been promoted. But yet, as you watch the video of brothers doing exactly what they say black men can't do, which is what? Build family, build a home, build communities, building back Black Wall Street overseas. Brothers are literally building quote unquote Black Wall Street in Thailand. Brothers are literally building Black Wall Street in the Philippines. Brothers are literally building back Black Wall Street in Europe. In
He's bloody
places where
man. people
You're
are upset.
supposed to build a Black Wall Street. And then you got your hoteps and Afrocentrics that are trying to set up shop in Africa. Now, what's crazy is, especially for the broads, you hear a lot of stories about how many of them have given up on building in Africa for whatever reason. They're having problems over there. Women are coming out missing in the Gambia or Ghana. These are BWs. But yet they want to try to scare you by talking about what's happening to passport bros in Colombia or Mexico. And most of those guys aren't even black or black American. They're just, because I told you about that. I told you the whole thing about passport bros, how the name has been spread. So now they're using white dudes that come up missing and now they're saying you got to answer for that because look at what's happening to your passport bros. No, that's some random white dude.
Now the couples you see, they're married. They're married. These couples you see that he's showing you are married. The couples. Some of them are boyfriend, girlfriend, some of them are married. So my question is, what Leah was talking about, that maybe, you go and being a player. But there's some black men are not trying to be players. That they could go from women to women to women to women to women. Now there are some black men, like any other men, are out there going from women to women to women to women to women as they traveling, or as they do here in the States. But not every black man is the same. Not every white man is the same. But it's the perception that you see a woman, a black man with a different woman, then that's what he's doing. But no one ever says it. And you seen the pictures. All the black women were married and dating other black women that were dating and married to other men, and it's their choice. And I don't know those black women or some black men to know. Just sit down and think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know. We don't know everything. We say, even though the Bible, and I respect the Bible, but you ever know some people? How many people have to interpret the Bible, and sometimes, and maybe you experience this yourself, that sometimes God had an individual go back over and review and told them that something, what you said was kind of off. Go back and recorrect that. Just because somebody says something, it doesn't mean that that's what it was. Now that's what I heard in his message, but when you technically think about it, is that if God wants us to get the Most High God through His Son Yeshua Jesus wants to give out His word. When did He say that you're gonna interact with other people, right? You were supposed to, and so other people, God wants you to give the message. You don't care when you from the Most High God, He sends you out to every walks of life, poor, rich, and everything in between. When did we have to all of a sudden say, "Oh, it don't fit the narrative of what we perceive to be"? First of all, when we step out of these earthly bodies, we're gonna be all spirit and soul. So all of us gonna look like the Father when we stand before Him. All gonna be judged. Either we make it to the kingdom of God or we go to hell. All races, all walks of life. This is the reality. And so when He gave interpretations of the time, a lot of people miss this in the Bible. Miss this in the sense they want to bring a Bible. Why did he the Most High God, give all nations and people the word? Mixed multitude of people out there during the time of Pentecost. See, since we want to go there with this. So, other words, He didn't want them to have the word too. He didn't want them to have the relationship with them too. But we still got to be separate. But instead of thinking about, he was trying to get them away from what they worship and what they praise, because there's many messiahs and many lords that's in the land that the whole human race worship. And he's trying to bring us out of it. It has nothing to do with skin color. Because if that woman and that man, even if it's the same race or a different race, if they have a covenant with Christ, you under the covenant. If they believe, if they hear from God and believe in His Son through Yeshua, basically Jesus Christ, it's there. What those men did during the time of the Bible, the women were out there. Let's say, for example, in our day, I have let's say if I have, in which I do have a covenant through Christ, and I have the Father's Spirit, so I have a covenant with the Father, right? But if I married a woman who is a Wiccan, I can't marry a Wiccan woman, a woman who is a Wiccan. What if a black woman, let's say we get together because she's black, and she chooses not to give up her ancestry worship? Then what? And we together, and I said, and the Lord will probably tell me, you can't get with this woman. Why? Lord, we're toward the same culture. She don't worship me. What if a woman that does similar New Age stuff, and there are black women and black men doing New Age stuff they're attractive people, but we together because we're black. But let's say for a woman, and I'm attracted to this woman, and I say, you have to, well, in order for me to get with you, you have to give it up. I can't give up my New Age. I can't give up what brings me peace. Do you think that the Most High God, through His Son, Yeshua, Jesus, is going to permit that? And there are black people that's up under that. And that's a fact. See, what black people and white people and other people have to understand, not every black person is the same. Not every person worship or believe in the same. And the reason, and maybe them brothers that you see, maybe some of them are atheists. Maybe some of them are agnostics. Maybe some of them are different religion and different belief system. So that's why you see them.
Barely broads are to come out and be like, you're going to have to come up off that fine. And you best get hard because we're going to work you all night long. Brothers, better protect your neck and get out of where you at. Because it's going to get a lot worse, especially young cats. Because as more and more brothers decide to opt out, there's going to be less and less dang-a-lang for these chicks. And they're going to come looking for you heavy. Brothers, that's why it's being bad bus drive around.
Now, yeah, so what I was basically saying is that, so if you be somebody spiritual, if you spiritually line up with somebody, you can ask God, can I marry this woman because we lined up spiritually. We believe in the same thing you do. And that's the foundation of a relationship. And it's possible. What it is that society has a problem with it. But who gives a shit? Because and that's why some people, we're so conditioned, and he's been an ex-military man, so he should know this, that there's some places in the world not everybody see life the same. Everybody, that's why there's a passport pro movement. And one thing I heard about the brothers that travel, the black men that travel, and this is what they said, it was really profound, and I learned to listen to people. It's like once you step outside of America, you don't look at life the same. Once you step outside the Western country, people ain't the same. It changes you inside out. So maybe what was once was, because you come back to the condition, because even though that we live in America and we have now come have every nationality, we still got that spirit of, well, that's those people, and those people. And we're one of the countries that believe in that. But not everybody believe in that. And not everybody follow the same thing that we do. But that's just, that's my opinion on it. But yeah, if you if you gonna throw, if someone gonna make an aspect of the Bible of it, and that's just like, that's that person's opinion. Then they want to take their opinion and interpret it for themselves. But it would make no. It would, well, this is way God wanted. What, God, I believe the Most High God would want to know who you worship and who you praise. Then who you form a covenant, especially if you have a covenant with Him by His Spirit, not by His nationality, by His Spirit. And so, and I come to understand that, like, we don't know, because I can interpret to say that, but God can say, I love all people. I communicate with all. And I communicate with all people. But this is another reason why some people don't see well, why we're separate. And it's going to focus on black people. What this young woman going to say?
There's a conversation going on TikTok about, hood people. And a woman made a video saying that she really don't like being around hood black people. She's kind of afraid of them. And she said she's not ashamed to admit it anymore. So it sparked a conversation. Even with this woman, I wanted to show you what she says. Let's just have an open and honest conversation about hood black people. Let's roll it.
So I seen this girl make a post earlier where she was like, I'm not afraid to admit hood people scare me. Now, although that may trigger some people, y'all have to understand some of us are just genuinely traumatized. Now, I didn't grow up in the hood, but I worked in the hood. And when I tell y'all, that was one of the most miserable experiences of my entire life. You could not look at them wrong. They wanted to fight. You could not be quiet. If you were quiet, it's you think you're all that. You think you're better than us. It's so bad. I was washing my hair today, and I got flashbacks of when they used to tease me and try and call me broke because I was not wearing a lace wig. Like, they just say the most uneducated, ignorant stuff I've ever heard in my life. I'm broke because I want to wear my natural hair that God blessed me with. And because I'm not gluing something to a nasty, stinking stocking cap every 5 seconds, that means I'm broke. Like, the energy is just so miserable and negative. And even when they're trying to be nice, it's still in a weird way. It's like they're either trying to use you or benefit from you or get up under you to learn your business. I don't get that feeling from my friends now. Like, if they want to hang out, I know they genuinely care about me and they want to hang out. Not because they're trying to gather tea on me to tell somebody else. Around hood people, you don't feel safe. You feel like you have to watch your purse, watch your belongings, you have to watch your bag. And I remember when I used to go just walk inside of the gas station and a car full of hood girls would just laugh and talk trash. It's like, you don't even know me. You're just random people on the street. You're just so ignorant. It's just always negativity. They're always down to fight. They're always loud. They're always like, ew. Like, I'm so glad that Tampa is so segregated and I don't have to go on that side of town. And I know that sounds terrible, but like, a lot of things I'm so traumatized by. I do not get along with hood chicks at all. I could probably count 0. I can't think of one person that is hood and I've actually like gotten along with them and they were nice and they were sweet and they weren't trying to use me and they never talked about me like a dog. Like, I can't think of not one person. I can't. When people show you who they are, believe them.
Realistically speaking, the majority of us, not all, but the majority of us come from a quote-unquote black neighborhood, or what you know as hood. Now, what people are describing is people with low-class behavior. Because yes, class is a real thing. You have low-class behavior, and you have people that actually have some sort of class by themselves, and they don't act that way. Now, this young lady in the story she told, I can believe her that she was a main target in a particular hood, because I remember a couple of young ladies, and maybe I noticed the light-skinned young ladies, girls at the time period, they will suffer the most of bullying. Sometimes you'll get beat.
I've seen some horrible things. And these girls, just because they were getting attention from guys, I'm just telling you what I've seen.
Me too.
It was
I've
like
seen
the
it.
darker skinned ones were very ferocious to them
Yep.
and very mean to them, right? I remember this one girl that looked just like her, light skin and everything, is that the moment she got to school, she moved in the neighborhood and it was already a problem. She wasn't a mean person, nothing like that. She got to school, all the guys was just giving her attention. Oh boy, she was target number one right then and there. They started treating her so mean and everything. I was trying to fight this girl. I remember the last day of school, they ganged up on this girl and threw a bunch of rotten eggs at her. You know, it was just so many different things they was doing to this girl. This other one I knew, same thing, targeting her, pulling her hair, beating her. I mean, always doing some mean things like that. For some reason, those lighter skinned black girls was targeted there. So you can't expect someone that's targeted like that to really want to be around, quote unquote. And it's not the dudes. I'm gonna say that it was not the guys. Guys wasn't doing anything wrong with them. It was more so the females, not the dudes, right? Now, quote unquote hood people, let's say male and female that I know personally or met over the years. Just because you are in the hood doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Okay? You got good people in the hood, great people in the hood,
Right.
and bad people. Now, some of the thing about hood black people, what I've noticed more so than anybody else, is that a lot of hood people got a bigger heart. They may be hood, but they got a big heart. Hood people get down and fight for you. I mean, physically will fight. They'll get in the trenches. They'll go to jail for you if they like you like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people that's in this upper echelon of black people got a little money. Ain't about to get their hands dirty for you. They're not about to get down for you. A lot of times they're not about to be loyal to you, like maybe that so-called hood person. And the person that's hood, even if you gave them a bunch of money, that's just who they are. They just gonna be more of that particular hood person. You know, they gonna have more access to the shoes they want, the clothes they want, or whatever else they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean you a bad person if you are from the hood.
No.
That's not what it means. But what she's describing, and even what I would describe, we're talking about the ones that is jealous of another black person, right? And so you will attack a black person if you think they got more than you. You always causing a problem. You're being a stereotype. You understand what I'm saying? Those kind of hood people, I'm not going to be around. I tell you, I'm not going to do it.
I wouldn't either.
Matter of fact, if that kind of hood is congregating anywhere, or they just show up in mass anywhere, I get myself up and I leave. I've done it before.
Right.
And I can care less what any of you say.
Right.
I'm not going to be in no environment where people like that have nothing to lose. No, I got a lot to lose. So I'm not going to tell them where they got to go. I'm going to get my happy self up and go somewhere else. To me, I've been around enough of that.
Me too.
I've seen enough people on drugs. I've seen enough people shot or killed. I've seen enough people's lives ruined. I've seen people, robbing their own grandma because they got on some drugs. I've seen all kind of things happen. People go to jail, and because of that, those environments, what I've seen growing up, that what gives me my drive and my hustle. So my children would never see that. They have not seen that because that's not a life that I even want to see. So you have some people that come from the hood per se, and they work so hard because they don't want to return to that, or neither do they want their children to have any kind of relation to that. Now, I know some people think, oh, she thinks she's better, and that's another thing. For you to say she thinks she's better, well, that's on you. You're projecting.
Right.
You don't know that young lady to say she thinks she's better.
We
has a right to say she
that's
won't
true.
be around certain people. It is what it is. So we in the community, I always advocated we have to have a separation in the black community,
right,
of good people and bad people, no matter where they at. Because just because somebody is not in the hood, don't mean they're not a bad person.
Right.
Because some of them people that's not quote unquote in the hood could be just as catty. Because they may not fight with you, but they may want to sabotage you in a certain way.
Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely, Phil. Exactly what I was saying. And it's really an internal problem, and then people project it, and I do think that, in my opinion, that goes back to ancient times, that on the plantation, between the light and the light skin, the dark skin, and you can see how it still perpetuates to this day. It's like, damn, your family. I don't like them light skinned, dark skinned people. So, it's crazy. And that's something that I don't think that some black people amongst us, and that's why it comes out. You can even see how some people talk. It's like, damn, for real? I mean, you haven't grown up and shit out of that mindset, but yeah, and they find people who are agreeable with that. So that's why Passport Sis and Passport Bros travel overseas to try to find their sense of purpose in another country. Or and if they meet somebody nice who is not full or be around people ain't full of that mess. That's what it comes down to. That's why sometimes I'm sorry to say it, somewhere people don't want to be around our people. Because it's the mindset that people have. Who wants to be around it? Then they got you down. It's like it's like, hey, I put in to time and effort to work like you do. You just got to get out there and get your own. Just like everybody else. But some people, when they see something that you like and you have, they covet you. They covet you. But this is going to answer the next question.
Those moments when your life changes forever. If you lost or need to update your health insurance because of a recent life
change, this is why some black men are going to be able to afford to going to travel overseas. Watch this next video.
Well, I got this idea to tell you that you need to do your research, and if you're dating a black man, it is your responsibility to understand the history and the trauma of slavery.
And you as a black man,
You're literally telling me that you had a class that was dedicated to black men, where black women have an opportunity to study their men, understand what they're going through, understand how to relate to them better, and instead of us doing that, you have other women of other ethnic groups, other races going in, taking note, using that as ammo to get the quote-unquote best men out there. So it's like, how can you compete with that? This is based upon what you just said. It's like, this is why they are winning our men. And there's one time where I heard you say one of your initial classes, one of the first classes you had, you noticed that it was predominantly non-black women who were going in there studying black men.
I started teaching a black male course because it was needed. I'm looking at these young brothers who were getting accepted, and a lot of them were, dropping out. A lot of them really didn't have any support structure on how to navigate college. So I created this class alongside a student group for black males and began to implement that. And early on, what I found was I had more black women than men, which, numerically is no surprise. That tends to be the case anyway as far as the enrollment in school. My initial training in my doctorate was as a feminist. I had dealt with gender prior to my doctorate, so I came in with that framework. The only way I knew how to deal with gender was through kind of what she taught me. So I'm teaching this black male class using this approach I got at grad school, and I'm watching the numbers of black males dwindle. I'm seeing the black males in my class looking at the ground, just kind of disconnected, and I'm seeing the women more and more excited. And what I realized was that it was becoming a class where the young ladies were using me to finger wag at the men. But when I started to actually ask the men what their perspectives were, and I started to kind of change the narrative, and after a couple of years, I noticed the number of black women dropped dramatically. The number of black males started to increase. Within the next couple of years after that, I noticed I started to get this population of white women.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were there. When I began to kind of ask them, in the hallways, under the, why are you taking this class? And I started to find, well, my boyfriend is, and I want to understand him and his family, or, I'm trying to date some of the men on the basketball team or football team or whatever, but I don't understand them. So they're doing research. They're getting A's. It's a weird thing where I got to give A+ to white women in a class on black males because they are handling all the homework assignments and reading everything to a T. They're asking me questions that were made by the author. My Lord, but they were serious. And I would say, another 3 or 4 years after that, I noticed the population shifted from white women to Latinas, and the Latinas were coming in with the same kind of intensity, the same kind of questions, the same motivation.
You're literally telling me that you had a class that was dedicated to black men, where black women have an opportunity to study their men, understand what they're going through, understand how to relate to them better, and instead of us doing that, you have other women of other ethnic groups, other races going in, taking notes, using it as ammo to get the quote-unquote best men out there. So it's like, how can you compete with that? This is based upon what you just said. It's like, this is why they are winning our men. If that is such a big complaint, this is why these other women, white women, Latinas, Asians, this is why they are winning or stealing, however you want to put it, our men, because they're actually interested in their interests.
Now this is a very powerful video, if you will, because we cover so many of these videos where we talk about, or at least black women say how all the white women are taking the black men and black men only want white women, and it's because I have to wear wigs to compete with white women, and black men like women with straight hair, so I have to wear a wig, so on and so forth. But you notice how he taught, and I don't know the brother's name, and shout out to this sister here. Was it Shay Charday? Shez Charday? I don't know. Is it Shay Charday? Shez? Some of you guys can correct me. I already know you're going to do that. Shout out to her for having this brother on here. I don't know his name. I'm assuming he's a doctor based off what he's saying. But you notice how he talked when he initially started the class. He said there was a high enrollment of sisters, which we understand when we always toot this. Black women are the most educated, and really when it comes down to it, they're the most enrolled, which is what he was getting at. But he said that this was like a black male bashing course, which a lot of educated black women and women from the LGBTQ community tend to do. They bash black men. And he said he decided to switch up his curriculum, and then the black women started showing less interest in it, and the bros obviously weren't too interested in it either. So he noticed the demographic change to the white woman and Latina woman or Hispanic woman. And when he actually pulled them to the side and said, "What's up? Women who know what's the whole thing, learning your man," was it Betty Wright? I can't remember. You guys always correct me. You should be learning your man at the end of the day. If you're looking for someone that you want to be your sustainer, sustain the family, your protector, provider, and things like that, you should want to know their likes. You should not automatically assume, which is what a lot of black women assume, what a black man wants, i.e. they wear the weaves, wigs, and BBLs.
Exactly.
And it's what other women want.
Exactly.
So you should date other women if
Exactly.
that's the case, instead of listening to what the black man wants.
Exactly.
So these white women and these other women are making an effort. I know that there were women, there was a Latin woman, she called into Kevin's show, and she said she loved black men. She said she cooks, she cleans, he just becomes this masculine protector and provider for her. She doesn't argue with him, she just exudes nothing but femininity. She's not trying to start an argument, and everything just works out well. But when you have this chip on your shoulder that I'm just going to use his seed and kick him to the curb, and I already expect him not to be ish, then there's going to be some issues. Or you already go into a relationship with a man knowing that there's some red flags, knowing he has multiple baby mamas, knowing he doesn't have a job, knowing he has a drug addiction, and then you turn around and complain and put black men all under the same blanket, if you will, and want it to stick, and that's not really how things work.
Right.
But this is one of those things that are rarely talked about. It's always, he just wants a lighter skinned woman, or he just wants a woman with straight hair, or these women let these guys walk all over them, that's why. Not so, baby. Not so.
Right.
Not so. And then women will say they're stealing and they have an attitude. Men don't want to deal with attitude.
No.
Men don't want to argue.
No.
Masculine men don't want to argue.
Nope.
If you spend time figuring out what a man likes, these are the most successful women. That's why women who sell buns for a living are so good with men and have men keep coming back. Because they realize that. They realize what this man likes. If you really know women, you would know what a woman likes. If you're good with women, you know what a woman likes. You know how to make love to a woman. You know the simple things, the non-sexual attention that you can give a woman, but without even touching her, how you can trigger certain spots on her. That's what's important. These are the men who are the best with women. They realize those things, how to pull women, but some women just find it too much of a challenge, and they always say that's too much like slavery. I'm not about to do all that. I'm not about to look like a fool. I'm not about to give him my all for him to turn around and leave me for another woman. This is the same thing that's preached in these groups among women, especially these strong, independent, black, educated women who feel like they don't need a man. Meanwhile, the other women are like, no other culture, no other race, if you will, it's just like I don't need a man. But just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings and abundance. Stick around.
And J.R. Wisdom is absolutely correct. There's a lot of women with their mindset. They assume this, they're not going to put it into it. They and like I said, they want to control, put in the shift of the relationship. You know, they want to tell you how educated you are. I guess I see women making video. I got 6 figures, and that's fine and dandy, you know. But that's not what the man is asking for. Well, I got a good job. Well, I got this and I got that. I got this and I got that. It's like you really you have selective hearing what the men are saying, and that don't press the man's like, okay, you can hold your own. Well, if you can hold your own, then you don't need me. Then you know what is my purpose? Just use me as a toy and toss me out. That's basically what it is. And so there are men who are waking up to this. And there are women losing their men to this. And unfortunately, with some black women, not all, but some black women are losing their men because their ego. Their ego, bro. It's their ego. It's their ego. And it's that sister girl ego. You ain't gonna tell this, and you ain't, Negroes ain't this, and Negroes ain't that. You know? And it's like you hear, you know, so it's like, and then it's like, even when you see somebody that you probably single attractive, even you try to make eye contact outside, unless it's in the workplace, they don't really speak to you. They don't even acknowledge you. You know? It's a fact. Let someone know you. But if you have to have another female, then they acknowledge you. But if you by yourself, any guy can say this. But this can happen to any woman, to any race of guy. But it's like they don't acknowledge you. But as soon as you got, it's like, what's with this dude? Why he got that nice looking woman? What's about him? You know, he don't look he ain't all that attractive to me. You know, and he ain't this, he ain't masculine, he ain't this. Well, okay. If he's not masculine or he ain't built the way you, what are you complaining about? What are you crying about? He ain't rough or he ain't thug enough. He ain't the type of man that can handle you and put you in your place. What are you complaining about? If you think that if that's your type of man, which is most likely probably be a street dude or some dude that cuss you out and cut you up and cuss you out, and then that's the type of, you need to meet that man with that type of personality, and that don't mind and got 5-6 other women with 5-6 different children. What you complaining about? Them men ain't going nowhere. They're not going overseas. Most of them ain't going overseas. They stay here. They on child support. I guess they owe so much child support. It ain't funny. They Mac Daddy, but they got a good rap though. They got a good game. They throw some good game and talk at you, make you laugh a little bit and everything. Yeah. So and I see, and this is to the women that make these videos, these YouTube videos, complain about the passport bros going overseas, and the women like-minded. You know, you're gonna have to put me in check. And this is what it is. So it's like, okay. So why, as a man who don't want to argue, why would anybody want to put up with that? You know, because of your personality, you think the world focus around you because you got a nice body, you're pretty cute. What? Don't you know that you got competition with other women with the same body shapes and same looks? And maybe have a good personality. And for what I heard from with the men over there, some of the women have a pleasant personality that attract the men. That you wouldn't find really attractive because they don't have the name brand clothes on. They don't drive in a fancy car. He broke, busted, and disgusted. So hey, what you complaining about? Go find your man who's a corporate thug, like I heard one woman said, and that he corporate, but he's a rough rider. You know, because you know, you get into argue. argument. You know how it goes. Y'all get into a high fluting conversation. He puts you in check, and hey, he give you some good stuff in the bedroom. What you worried about? I mean, it is what it is. And maybe, but them square and maybe them 6-figure dudes. Now you don't want them. Even if, and they probably have a good rap game, but it's too white for you. Especially some of you hood minded, some of you women that kind of hood. He's too soft. He's too white. He's too. And I've heard women say that too. So that's the reason why there was a passport bro movement. That's why some men are going to other women. And some women who like them kind of men don't figure, and they don't want to deal with the bad. They want to deal with what they think a bad boy, masculine personality. That's what they want. And I don't understand. What are you complaining about? You're not gonna give him the attention. You're not gonna get up and do what some of the women do. You're not gonna want to get the, ask you to make him a sandwich. You're not gonna do that. Not for that good-hearted man. Are you serious? If not the one that you get into a heated argument. Oh no, because he ain't masculine enough for you. Remember, that's because you assumed that he was soft. He was a lot of women like that, and so that's what it is. And so why you complain about that? There are going to be some black men that maybe think that these men going overseas are punks, whatever. They need to deal with you. Let them share off their baby mamas with you. And if they hood, they're real G, they're real nig. Hey, deal with them, cause you're gonna succumb to them anyway, right? But for the men and the brothers that want to go overseas, them ladies need to stop complaining. Who got that? But you want that bad boy mentality? Hang with your bad boy. Go get you a Chad. Yeah, go get you a Chad. If you can't deal with a Pookie Ray, you got Chad. Cause you get you a nice white guy with blonde hair, blue eyes, who's like an Eminem, who likes rap. So he might have a little meth problem, but it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, hey, but he might have good credit. Remember, it ain't gonna be peachy perfect. Think about it. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all right then. But to get back to it, men and some women, marry who you gonna marry, date who you gonna date, and think about what I'm saying. The spiritual aspect. When we step out the earthly shells, we're all the same, and He loves us all the same. So don't let someone if anything. I learned this before I go. Just because someone reads something and it looks like something, get it from the source himself. Spend some time, and like I would advise myself, fast and seek His face. And anything someone said to you online, such as this, seek His face yourself, and question the person's motive. Question everything, because the Father, through His Son, His Holy Spirit will reveal everything in time. All right then. So until next time, you guys be blessed. Till next time, see you on the next video.